Right, so this is a spark plug and ignition coil replacement on this was specifically an 03 Maxima, but all the V6s are set up the same way. I just had my car started running a little rough. It had a little wobble in the steering wheel. The service light, engine light came on. I took it into an auto parts store and they told me it was ignition coil number 1. So we're going to show you where all that stuff is and basically how to get to it. Number 1, all you want to do is you want to just easily remove that plastic cover. And now you can, there you go. And now you can see 3 of the ignition coils. Put them on. Oh, yeah, those are 3 of the ignition coils. It's just 2 screws, and you pull that thing out, and the spark plug sitting below it. Unplug the spark plug, re-screw the spark plug back in, not too tight, and then just drop the coil on top of it and screw it on. Unfortunately, the coil that was bad on my car was the number 1, which is behind this manifold, and my buddy took the manifold off here. He's going to show you quick how he did it. Go ahead.
There's a couple of just clips that go on the top that are holding stuff. Removed them. I put the bolts back in so I didn't misplace which ones they are. They are smaller than the rest of them. Then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts that hold the front manifold together. Then there is 2 bolts that are behind here that are holding the thing to the air intake. Yep. There's 2 back there. And then you have some hoses, a hose here, there's 1 hose right here, and then you got there's 2 clips back here. Now there's a green and a blue, and they are on a mounting post here, and you have to remove these, but you also have to remove this from the mounting bracket, which all it is it just clips on a metal post here, and you just push the little button in and then pull it off. Okay, so we got that now. And now we can take the boot, loosen the boot up, take that off, just back a little bit with the lines off, and then it's going to take a little bit of a jimmying to get it off here.
There it goes.
But after it's removed, you can just either slide it up and out of the way, which I'm going to do for ease. Mm-hmm. And here are your 3 coil packs with your spark plug underneath each one.
Right, so I'm going to give you the numbers of the cylinders now. It's pretty easy on this car. It's 1, 2, 3. Then the front left one is 4, middle is 5, one to the right is 6. So that's 1 cylinder, 2 cylinder, and so on. One other thing is there is a gasket on this manifold cover. The gasket was pricey. It was, I believe it was about $60. So we just did our best to not ply at it or do any damage to it. And then I just got like a little packet of gasket dressing, something like this. And then we'll just dress the gasket before we put the manifold back on. So now we're going to show you simply how to remove the ignition coil. All right, so just quickly, you're going to need 2 sizes of sockets for this job. You're going to need a 12 millimeter and an 11 millimeter. A 12 millimeter and a 10 millimeter. You also need the Allen wrenches to put the cover back on. But the ignition coils themselves are all secured with a 10 millimeter screw. And basically it is that screw right there. And that's the only thing that holds the ignition coil into the cylinder. So, he's going to go ahead and unscrew it and pull it out and show you how to remove it. It's really easy. The thing is it is clipped on to I guess what would be considered a spark plug wire. So you will have to unclip it since we're going to put a new one in. And since this was the only one that was bad, this is the only one I'm going to change. My auto parts store had them anywhere from $70 to $100 a piece. So I think it was worth it just to put the new one in. Okay, yeah, there you go. And there's the old one. And now I'm just going to give them the new one. You see, they're exactly the same. And it's going to go in. Oh, wait a minute. We're probably going to want to pull the plug out.
Yep.
So now we'll get to it and get the plug. Okay, the spark plugs are going to come out with a 5/8 inch spark plug remover socket, whatever. So he's going to go ahead and pull them out. It takes about a minute or so of ratcheting on this to get these plugs out. So I'm just going to pause quick and then until we pull it out, and then we'll show you how to put everything back. Action. There's the old plug. Right there. You can go ahead and pull it out. Get rid of it. And these plugs didn't even really need to be changed. But since we're back here, we're just going to go ahead and do it. And you just clip the old one on here, show how to clip it in. Just clip it right into the spark plug wrench. Yep. Well, it'll hold. Just go right back down. Flip the top of your ratchet so you're tightening instead of loosening.
And try to do this by hand. Try not to use the ratchet at first.
Okay.
As much as you can.
What do you mean by hand?
Just so you don't strip it. Like, either take this, like I'm doing,
right,
and spinning the ratchet,
right,
or take the ratchet completely off and just grab the extension itself, and that'll, just so you're not cross-threading it.
Right. No, that is smart, to pull the extension off and then put the extension in the socket in until you feel it bite, and then put the ratchet on top and then ratchet away. Yeah, that is a very good idea. So he's going to clamp that down. It'll take about a minute. And then we'll show you how to put the ignition coil in. Action. Okay, so we've gotten the spark plug out. We've got the new, I always forget the name, coil pack. And Ty's going to clip it onto the wire and then just set it down. You don't have to fasten it at all. You just set it down on top of the spark plug. You got something you wanted to add?
Yeah, and make sure when you're doing this, you do one coil at a time, one spark plug at a time. The last thing you want to do is mix up this or your cylinders. Then you will basically have the same problem that you started with.
Yeah. All right, so you can see how he just clipped it into that little plastic bracket, and now it just sets down right into and evens up with you know, these cars, they got stuff packed down so tight in here, and you see now how it just lines up right over the other the threads to threads, and you should put that 10mm screw right into it, and that's all it is. You don't have to connect the wire to that coil. The coil just sits on top of the wire with like the rubber gasket around it. So this is the 10mm that you'll use, and you'll use 12mm on everything else. This would just be a repeat scenario after this. You know, if you needed to change the coil, you would just do the same thing on number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, or number 6. We're just going to replace the plugs since we're already back here. And in that case, all you have to do is unscrew these 10mm screws, lift the coil out. You don't have to unplug it. You can just lift the coil out, pull the plug out, put the new one in, gently screw it down, and then replace the bolt, and that's it. That's as simple as it gets. Hope this was helpful. Actually, we'll be back in just a second. And just like that, all of the ignition coils are back on. The screws are tightened down. And we're ready for the manifold cover to go back on. Now, one thing we both recommend is you snap a few photographs of this manifold cover and what's connected to what before you take it off. That way you'll have something to go back to if you can't figure out what goes where. And we did that. There's really nothing else to show. Basically, yeah, just make sure you take some pictures before you take that manifold cover off. And, you know, like we said earlier, the rest of these bolts will all be 12mm. And good luck. Thanks for watching.